This week, I'm coming at you a little sideways with this video.
I have a love-hate relationship with Love is Blind. I love to hate watch it. So that's the perspective that this recap is going to be from. For those who don't know, Love is Blind is a reality TV dating show in which people enter pods and they cannot see each other, but they talk, they fall in love. I think they have 10 days to fall in love, and they propose and they get engaged without ever seeing each other. And then it follows them from the process to when they meet all the way to the end, where they eventually get married or they do not get married. And if you haven't heard of this show, you have to be living under a rock. My first thought when entering the season, I was like, are we gonna see a Black woman get wholehearted love? Are we? Is that gonna happen? Are my expectations too high?
Child. Anyway, so
Nick and Vanessa Lachey, they walk in, they introduce themselves to everybody. They're like, hey. First thought, I was like, okay, some of these women are really beautiful. Some of them are kind of not so beautiful. And all of the men look like NPCs, like every single one. They just look like someone put them in an AI generator, was like, put together what an attractive man should look like. And out popped all these men. One of the first people we were officially introduced to is Chelsea. And I literally was like taking notes as I was watching. And I don't know, I just got a unsure vibe about her. She seemed really nice. But this scene where she talks about her shoes.
Do you want to guess how many shoes I brought?
I'm gonna say 13.
No, 21.
21!
But anytime someone says 21, it just makes me think of 21. Could you do some for me? Could you talk to the ops next for me? 21. Do your thing, 21. Do your thing, 21. Like Sassy Drake. Anyways. It just gave me a little bit of like okay. She seemed like a material girl a little bit, but I wasn't judging her. I was just like, just have to watch this one. Another thing, side note, there were so many blondes. So many skinny blonde women. And I was like, oh, here we go again. Here we go again.
Imagine how tired we are.
So then we meet Kwame. And mind you, I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so don't spoil anything for me. Don't tell me anything past this point. Kwame just gave me revamped SK. Like, all of these people give me revamped season 3 people, to be completely honest with you, except for one couple, but we'll get to them in a second. I love them. I'm rooting for them. But Kwame, he seemed genuine. That's what I thought, okay? Until he said this.
My name is Kwame.
Kwame.
Yes. I actually was going to use the name Alex instead. Because I just feel like Kwame just like puts me in this very specific area.
You see him go and talk to Micah, who I hate, okay? If there is a leader of the Micah hate train, I am she. I can't stand this woman. Kwame says that he was going to lie and say that his name was Alex, which why would you want to start off a dating show where you're supposed to be blindly meeting people and potentially find the love of your life with a lie? That already showed me that this man had no integrity and I don't like him. Okay, but the fact that he said Alex because he didn't want to be put into a box. Sir, just say you don't want to be Black and let's keep it moving. Like, just say that. Just say it with your chest. Just say that. It's giving self-hatred. It's giving I only date white women. It's giving they put me on this show to be a trouble starter because I hate myself. That's what Kwame is giving.
What you said? Queen.
Micah, I don't like her, but initially I didn't really have a reason to not like her. My intuition was just like, can't stand her. She was giving very much TikTok spiritual girly, just in the way that she was talking about manifestation and crystals. And if you know anything about the TikTok spiritual girlies, it's that they're not really spiritual. They're just converted mean girls, and they're trying to make it seem like they're better than everybody else because now they're spiritual. But in reality, they don't manifest things. They're just white and privileged. So that's what Micah's giving.
I said what I said.
So Paul, to me, was like the ultimate NPC. He seemed like a very nice guy, just seemed very awkward, very weird. The part that killed me was when he said, your voice tickles my brain. And I was like, that's interesting. It's like what a robot would say if they're trying to endear someone to them. But he was basically telling every single girl that he talked to about their plans after they got married. So basically just telling them all that he saw himself marrying every single one of them. And that just gave me the ick. Like, I know it's early on, you know, it's the first episode, right? First couple of minutes, they're just supposed to be dating and talking and chit-chatting. Something about that just irked me the wrong way. Amber, oh my gosh, poor sweet Amber. I wrote that she seemed so genuine. She seemed so nice, so sweet, and so caring.
You know, my looks should be the least interesting thing about me.
And then found out that she'd been married and divorced twice. Amber is Matt from last season. In my mind, it's like Amber is someone who should have gone to therapy instead of going on to a dating reality TV show. Love her personality. I wish her the absolute best, and I hope she does find love. Again, I'm only on episode 2, so I don't know what happens with her. But, honey, you should not be on a dating show.
Mind your own business.
A girl who I absolutely love, okay, Jacqueline.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
I love Jackie. Love, love, love me some Jackie so far. She's so pretty. I just want to kiss her. And her facial expressions when she's talking about other people or when things are going on, I love it. Bliss, absolutely loved her. Thought she was so, so sweet. So gorgeous as well. So beautiful. I want Bliss to find love so bad. I love her. So then there was this one irritating man who popped up and they didn't introduce him. They didn't say who he was or what his name was. My first thought was, I literally wrote this down, who is this man and why do I hate him? And then in brackets, I put ugly man asking stupid questions because he asked this.
Have you ever murdered anybody? Are you Japanese? Korean?
No.
Chinese? Are you short? Let me guess. 5'1".
So far, I hate him just as much as I hate Micah.
You make me sick. You make me sick. I just cannot.
Then we're introduced to Tiffany.
My match has to be here.
I love Tiffany and I just want her to find genuine, real love so bad. Like, I've never rooted for somebody so hard as I'm rooting for her. And when she's talking to Brett and they really, really hit it off, and I love that. But I didn't have like good or bad vibes from him. They were just kind of neutral, which is a good sign. That means that he's not a horrible man. Then we're introduced to Josh, and he absolutely, I cannot describe it and I can't explain why, but I literally wrote down that he gives me Brampton boy energy, okay? If you know, you know.
The girls that get it, and the girls that don't.
One thing that I noticed after we were introduced to everybody and they're kind of like chatting in the pods, they cast way more black men than they did black women.
That's suspicious.
Like, way more.
That's weird.
I find reality TV really entertaining. I find reality TV like dating shows, love shows entertaining, but I cannot stand how every single time I watch one, it reminds me of how largely undesired black women, and by default I am, by the general public. Like, it makes me mad. Then we are introduced to Irina and Zach. Irina, I don't like her. I also didn't like her right off the bat, her and Micah. So my spidey senses, they were on point because these two bitches, ugh, disgusting. But I wrote down she gave very superficial, very insecure mean girl vibes.
You're trying to sabotage my love life? You could never.
I didn't like her. I don't know I can't explain it so far. I just didn't like her. She also looked like an NPC. So then when she got with Zach, who gives like ultimate NPC, like him and Paul look like they could be computer generated people that you would see in the background on Grand Theft Auto, just something like that. Like, they would just be in the background. Zach, he gives hockey jock boy energy on the surface, but as a way to kind of run away from vulnerability and being open and honest about his emotions and what he's been through, to me, he gave another person who needed therapy and not a dating show.
She's got a point.
So this, my spidey senses, where I was thinking that he was using this persona or this attitude to kind of run away from being vulnerable, was confirmed when he goes on to joke about being a stripper with every woman that he talks to. But he did this to kind of gauge their reaction because his mom was actually a stripper when he was growing up. So he wanted to see how they would react to him saying that was his job. If they reacted negatively, then that would mean that they weren't safe to open up to emotionally. And if they reacted positively, then that means that they were safe to open up to emotionally. And while I understand the logic, I just think it's very childish at your big grown age to be testing people to see if they're safe to open up to emotionally.
I'm being an asshole at this point.
It was a way for him to get the answer that he needed about whether they were a safe or unsafe person without actually having to be vulnerable. And I didn't like that. But then Zach also talks to our girl Bliss, and for me, I didn't really see them being compatible. It seemed like a very surface level connection. It really was giving Zenab and Cole from last season, and we all know how that ended up. But they really thought that they connected because of the song. They know all the words to this one song.
I actually memorized it. I can sing it from memory.
I can sing it too.
You can sing I Hope You Dance from memory.
That's my mom's song for me. Like, how could I not?
Bliss, how weird is that?
And it's like, that's a very popular song, But I really did think that they were about to sing in the pods, and then I was not going to make this video. I was not going to watch the rest of the season, because if there's one thing I can't stand, it's when regular people just start breaking into song and they think that they're connected because of it. This is not High School Musical, okay? This is real life. So we finally figure out who the man that we absolutely hate and cannot stand is, and it's Billy, and he's age 34.
How do you feel about like PDA and stuff?
I literally will have sex with my wife in public. I'm down if you're down.
I just can't take a grown man seriously whose name is Billy and says that his favorite print is leopard print.
I want you to be so expeditiously, supercalifragistically, expialidociously fucking for real now. Like, be fucking for real.
So then Kwame and Micah are talking, and then Paul and Micah are talking. And when it came to connection and who seemed more compatible, it really did seem like Kwame and Micah were more compatible than Micah and Paul. Like, they just had more things to talk about. They got on a lot better. They were having way deeper conversations. Paul was very surface level. So then we see Brett and Tiffany continue talking, and honestly, we only see them talking to each other. So I don't know if that was like an editor thing or if they really did only connect with each other, but I'm hoping that's what it was, because I'm rooting for them. I want them so bad to be the Lauren and Cameron that we have all been waiting for and deserve, okay? We need a revamp of that. So I love them together. I love them together. The only thing that came up, which was like a little bit of a orange flag with Tiffany, I won't even say it's a red flag, a little bit of an orange flag, is that she said that she would have judged Brett for not having a college degree. Girl, what?
Man, boo. Tomato, I'm throwing tomatoes.
Maybe some people are just different. I feel like that's a little bit ridiculous to be like, yeah, my partner has to have a college degree. He still has a good paying job. He could still be very smart and just never have gotten the opportunity to go to college, or like couldn't afford it. I don't know. It's even elitist. I didn't like that. Still rooting for her, but just didn't like that. The thing that I loved is that fact that they were matching. Okay, they couldn't see each other. They didn't talk about what they were going to wear, and they were matching. I was like, oh my God, it's so cute.
What else are you wearing? I'm curious.
I am wearing like a teal or emerald green dress.
I'm wearing a shirt right now that I would consider the same color.
If any other couple had done it, I would have been like, disgusting. But because it's Brett and Tiffany, it's Biffany, we're rocking with it. Brett seemed very genuinely interested in getting to know her as a person. It wasn't surface level. It was like deep right off the bat, which I love. And he seemed to really care for what she was saying and be like mentally storing it, not just listening, but like genuinely hearing her. Seemed like he was going to be her #1 fan, which she absolutely deserved. So I loved that. And Brett seems more introverted, whereas Tiffany seems a little bit more extroverted. So that just seemed like the perfect match to me. I just want them to be together and be happy for the rest of their lives.
I'm just giving you my opinion. And yes, my opinion, will be biased because it's an opinion.
So then Micah is going back and talking to Paul, and she was asking Paul about his connection with Amber. And at this time, Kwame was Micah's #1, okay? So she has no business. First of all, I don't really think it's a good idea to ask about other connections unless you're asking them to cut off the other connections. But Paul wasn't even her #1 at the time. It was Kwame. So this was weird. And this scene to me confirms why my intuition was like, she's a horrible person. Because this is when we start to see her emotional manipulation come into play and how she's just a soulless being.
Well, just as I thought. Trash.
So I thought that Micah asking about Amber to Paul was giving jealousy and possessiveness that was unfounded. And then all of a sudden she decided that Paul was her #1 only because she realized how much Paul wanted Amber as well. Okay, so she doesn't actually want him. She just wants him because he wanted somebody else. But one thing in this scene that made me really give me the ick, why does Paul have his crusty toes shoved in the carpet like that? That's so gross. And then in the scenes you see people like laying there and all that stuff. I hope, if there's one thing I know white people have told us recently, is that they don't really be washing that well. So I just hope that his toes were nice and clean, or that they nicely clean those rooms every time someone leaves, because that's gross. So Chelsea and Kwame are also connecting, and Chelsea, this is when I start to like her. She can sense that Micah is sketchy, that things are off, that things are not going good so far. So she's like, I don't want to talk about Kwame around her.
I don't trust that girl over there.
But Kwame just continues to give me the deepest ick in my spirit. I just don't like him. I don't like him. And while I think him and Chelsea would be a good match, I don't know if he deserves her.
And I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but it's like this man truly disgusts me.
So then Kwame goes back and talks to Micah and tells Micah about his other connection. Micah then gets mad and feels bitter about it.
And I'm just wondering how it's escalating so much. If you do feel sure about me.
And this is when she really started to give manipulative mean girl. Because remember, she just was talking to Paul about his other connection and basically was like, well, I just want you and blah, blah, blah. All this BS, okay? Then goes and does the exact same thing with Kwame. She's playing mind games with these men instead of focusing on making a genuine connection with them. And I don't like that. She's giving insecure. She makes it clear that she's going to try to become what he wants rather than accepting that he wants someone else. So same thing she just did with Paul. She then gets mad at Kwame for having another connection, but then goes on to say that she has another connection and she's allowed to have it. And Kwame, in his stupid ass, is like, yeah, that makes sense. Before she tells him a manipulative lie, she tells him, I want this to stay between us.
Like, I want this to stay between us, but like I really am like falling for you. And like I haven't said that to anyone else. So you better not go falling for anyone else. I'll be your ass.
She then goes back and acts shocked that her emotional manipulation worked. Then she takes her ugly ass, and I say ugly because she's ugly on the inside, not because of what she looks like, even though I do think she looks like a troll. But that's neither here nor there. She then goes and lies to the girls about what went down. She's then talking very poorly about our girl Chelsea, who I've decided is now our girl and we like her, and laughing about Kwame's needs that she refuses to meet, even though she told him that she's going to meet them.
No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am.
So then we're introduced to Marshall, who I love, okay? Obsessed with him. I just want the best for this man. Marshall then gives Brett like a little pep talk, and it's so cute. Based off this scene alone, I want Marshall to also find love. So then Brett goes in to talk to Tiffany. Biffany is back together, and Brett opens up about his brother's death. It was a heartbreaking yet very important moment of the show, I believe, because it was one of the true showings of vulnerability from any of the people so far. It was not a means of emotional manipulation or control. Brett and Tiffany seem to be a genuine, wholehearted instant match. Like, absolutely. And in my mind, it's the type of connection that has not been seen on the show since Cameron and Lauren. So then we are back to Paul and Amber. Paul is just weird, okay? He's just a weirdo. I don't know. He also gives me the ick, but in comparison to the Kwame ick, it's like a baby ick. They're talking, they're being open and honest, they talk about infidelity, they talk about cheating, and then he asks her, like, have you ever gone to the point where you would cheat? And she's just answering honestly, and she admits that she would have cheated on her previous partner.
Side eye. Side eye.
And to me, this was a big red flag. Like, if someone ever tells me that they would have cheated on a previous partner, they were close to cheating on a previous partner, or they did cheat on a previous partner, that lets me know that I cannot trust you. But that is just me personally. Paul kind of felt the same way, right? So he called her out and he literally says,
kind of a red flag.
And then she tried to gaslight him out of being alarmed by her admission that she would have cheated.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
So then Micah is back to her ugly, manipulative, troll-like ways. And she is meeting with Paul. She asks Paul about Amber.
I've definitely felt like really good about her, and I felt like really, like connecting.
I don't know, I feel like that's not like exactly what I wanted to like hear. If I felt like you were all in with me and you wanted to move forward like just us, then I would have said that I wanted to do the same.
I hate this girl. Like, I really, really can't stand her. I really want her to leave the show single. Like, that's the only thing that I want. We then go back to our favorite couple, Biffany. I live for them. I love them so, so, so much, and I'm truly rooting for them. And then as the episode comes to an end, they're telling each other, like, I love you, and they're talking about their love in depth for the first time, and Tiffany falls asleep.
Tiffany?
What? She fell asleep while he was being open and honest and vulnerable and talking about his feelings. Like, girl, come on, come the fuck on. And that is the end of the episode 1 recap. I will have the episode 2 recap coming up real quick, real soon. So if you want to see that and see the rest of the recaps, I will be going episode by episode. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification so you're aware of every single time I upload. And if you want early exclusive access to the video and all of the other videos, then make sure to head over and become a patron. You can find that link in the description down below. Those subscriptions start as low as $5 a month, and I'd really love to have you over there. I'll see you in the next recap.